And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
I'm trying to be woke. I actually go in the ladies' restroom now. Because technically I'm a man, but I identify as a pervert. I'm trying to be woke. I actually don't.
What's up, everybody? And welcome back to Common Censored. That's right. He identifies as a pervert. I mean, that's solid logic according to the left. What can you say? What can you say? Welcome back, all of you censored commoners. Thanks for being here today. Big Ugly, I see you over there in the chat. What's up, Ed? How you doing, man? Thanks for being here, everybody. Tick picking, homegirl. All of you great censored commoners out there. Lisa R, Mama Mac. What's going on, guys? Pops, I see you too. Hope you're all having a good Friday. TGIF. Thanks for joining us here today for Common Censored. I'm your host, Lord Sterling. And this is episode 194 with all kinds of crazy clown world coverage and this ongoing chaotic clusterfuck that we're living through. We've got Hillary Clinton busted by the FEC with 45 times the money in question as Donald Trump's $130,000 hush payments with hush money payments with $6 million that she's going to be potentially in trouble for, although nothing will probably come of it. We've got Trump unveiling his top 4 VP finalists, which are asshole, unfortunately, not a good sign necessarily. We've got information about a White House lawyer who shut down the 2020 election investigations, as well as insider testimony about Biden and Obama being locked in a blackmail war. All kinds of fun stuff today. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday as we broadcast live at 6:30-ish p.m. Eastern Time, usually a little bit late. They don't call me Lord Tardy for nothing, as you guys know. You can share the broadcast using hashtag CommonCensored on X or wherever you want to share it. You can also find us on X at Lord Sterling _ until we hopefully get the regular Common Censored one back. But I don't know about that. Their system is impossible to work with, apparently. Red Crypto! What's going on, Crypto? Good to see you out there, brother. Hope you're having a good Friday. Thanks to our new followers on Rumble. Appreciate each and every one of you. 520 Homegirl. Hopeful Faithful 69. Steel City Ken. X-Ray 69x1, retired AV8R, Red Pill 69, Alley 4357, Steve Vogged, Pat Tech. What's up, you guys? Thanks for being with us. Links to all of the content we discussed today will be down in the description shortly after the broadcast, including timestamps to the articles and everything that we cover. So if you're watching this later on, and you're pressed for time, want to maximize the efficiency of your focus and energy, click down in the video description, pick out the topics that interest you, jump right to the timestamps, courtesy of Mama Mac. If you want to support Mama Mac, then also definitely head on over to alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. Why suffer through the horrors of the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry perpetrated on us all to keep us sick and dependent when you can use natural herbal remedies to help your various ailments? Mama Mac and fam have you covered over there at alplama.com, alplama.com. Good customer service, lots of good products, herbal teas as well, in tincture form to help you out. Alp Llama, yuck. It tastes bad, but so good for you. Thanks, Mama Mac. And if you want to support the show directly, you can head on over to our Linktree, where you can find links to our merch. And we're at Common Censored on Linktree. You can find links to our merch, links to our books, Common Sense, first edition revived, made from high-resolution images of a January 1776 copy, first edition of Thomas Paine's Common Sense, the best-selling American book of all time. You can also grab the redacted version, Common Censored, our eponymous title, where we blacked out most of the interior, rendering all the substance impossible to glean, and begging the question, is a revolution against tyranny even possible when the collective public commons is stifled and suppressed? Your guess is as good as mine. We need that free marketplace of ideas. Unique prepping, I see you over there. What's up, Z-Man? Hope you're having a good day, brother. Let's see, what do we got next? The disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. I never get tired of doing that. All right, let's jump into our first topic of the day. We're going to hop over to the Gateway Pundit to start things out with this article. Breaking coordinated Democrat rebellion to unfold over the next 48 hours as the largest pro-Biden super PAC freezes $90 million in pledged donations. Uh-oh, they're pulling the funding, Joe. It's over. The writing is on the wall. When you go to press conferences and the first question that the reporters ask is about your VP stepping up to take over, it's over, Joe. You're gonna have to step out. We don't want you to step out of the race because you're our best option to guarantee a Trump victory. But it kind of seems inevitable at this point. Here we go! A coordinated Democrat rebellion will be underway over the next 48 hours as the largest pro-Biden super PAC freezes $90 million in pledged donations if Biden remains on the ticket, according to the New York Times. Everybody's turning on Joe. This comes after Joe Biden's disastrous big boy solo press conference Thursday evening where he called Kamala heels up Harris, Vice President Trump. And hilarious memes ensued. You better believe that. Quote, some major Democratic donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC, future forward, that old communist phraseology used since like the 40s with various communist parties and revolutions and stuff. Forward, progress, all those types of words are associated with the commies, the red bastards. Future forward, that roughly $90 million in pledged donations is now on hold if President Biden remains atop the ticket. They're leveraging him with the money. And yesterday at the press conference, he was bragging about how, we've got $200 million in the reserves. Well, maybe not anymore, Joe. According to two people who've been briefed on these conversations. Quote, the frozen contributions come as he had hoped to turn the page on a weeks-long crisis. Talk about weeks long? Are you kidding me? Years long, man. Within his party, following a nearly hour-long news conference on Thursday evening. That appearance in which he delivered a few gaffes, but also demonstrated a command of foreign policy, did not immediately seem to worsen Democrats' fears about his viability, but it also did not silence the calls for him to drop out. After he was done speaking, 3 more House members joined the ranks of elected Democrats calling for Mr. Biden to end his campaign, New York Times reported. Let's check out this clip.
Breaking this hour, New York Times reporting donors have told the largest pro-Biden super PAC that roughly $90 million in pledges are now frozen if Biden remains at the top of the ticket.
Val McInnes, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here over on YouTube. Make sure to have that cursor ready to jump to Rumble in a little bit with us as well, Val. Thanks for being here.
But this may only be the beginning. Reports claim a coordinated Democratic rebellion is set to unfold during a brutal 48-hour stretch for Biden. An 18th Democrat lawmaker just called for Biden's exit 90 minutes ago. Now we're learning that President Biden privately met with White House Minority Leader Jeffries after his solo press conference last night, where he made several embarrassing mistakes on the world stage. Hello, everyone.
He went from calling President Zelensky President Putin to calling Vice President Harris Vice President Trump. Not a good look. Not a good look. Everybody's turning on Joe. Over here on X at Doc net YouTube black insurrectionist. We have some interesting information. This individual claims, quote, "I just hung up with my friend who works in DC, the guy who has nailed everything and given me inside scoops for months that have led to viral tweets, correct predictions, and he has not yet been wrong. Not sure if I should post this, but these are the claims. Jill Biden is running the country right now, clearly. Joe Biden is sleeping up to 16 hours per day. Hashtag jealous. The Biden and Obama family rift has now blown fully open, and any aides loyal to Obama are going to get canned." We got more information about the conflict between Obama and Joe that's going on behind the scenes as well. Obama is going to try to force Joe out. Obama is meeting privately with power players to get them to withdraw funding. Hollywood will begin to turn on Biden via what Obama is telling them. Democrats are making decertification plans in case of a Trump win. Deals are being attempted with some Republicans right now to turn on Trump. He's got to watch his back for that et tu brute moment. I don't like his VP picks. We'll get into that in a little bit. A full-blown civil war in the DNC and an attempt to make sure Trump does not get elected at any cost is now happening, including costs like race wars, World War III, anything they can do to prevent Trump from getting into office, and declaring martial law, enacting Rex 84 and continuity of government, etc., canceling the elections. Be prepared for anything, guys. Anything is possible. All the stops are being pulled. Quote, "Many in D.C. are already saying that the Biden family has completely obliterated the Constitution with how they're running the country. Obama and the CIA has the CIA and NSA in his corner." Bad news for Biden. Yeah, even if he had them in his corner, he wouldn't be able to command them or anything like that. The Biden family has cut Joe Biden off to anyone other than a few close people, as we saw the last meeting that he had with his full cabinet was in October 2023. So they're isolating him, insulating him, trying to prevent people from being able to see his true state, just like the media has been doing, insulating him from the public. It's happening with his Congress or his cabinet as well. The Her tapes are completely different than the transcription. This black insurrectionist alleges. The desperation to keep them is because apparently Joe Biden had full-blown dementia during most of that interview, and some are saying the transcripts are in fact doctored. Not like cheap fake doctored, where you just take a clip and you're not actually doctoring anything. They falsely use the word doctor to imply deceptive editing. In this case, they would actually be doctored with the transcript completely altered, in my imagination. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Black insurrectionist continues. "I was even warned that I probably should not post this, but the hell with it. I hate the DNC. I hate Democrats. The quicker we get rid of the Democrat Party, the better off we will all be. But that includes getting rid of the GOP. Both parties suck." Yeah, the uniparty. Anyway, last night's press conference did nothing. There's a full court press to get rid of Joe, and it is intensifying. Watch for leaks to the press about Joe Biden and things that are happening behind the scenes. If the Her tapes come out, it will be the end of Biden for sure, and will lead to prosecutions because of the doctoring of the transcripts. Internal polling has been disastrous. Many saying Biden has no path to win, and if he were to win, the country would go up in flames. Crazy times we live in. Hard to argue against any of that. Seems pretty much realistic and accurate to me from an outside perspective. Speaking of the war going on behind the scenes with Joe and Obama, his puppet master, let's take a look at this video from Alex Jones, at Real Alex Jones, who posted this shortly ago. Breaking: Biden and Obama are locked in a blackmail war, says Trump insider George Papadopoulos, with the coolest last name around. Let's check out some of this.
And this really goes to why Obama's the puppet master. And I think the reason Biden feels that he has this ace up his sleeve is because I think there could be some sort of coordinated blackmail among one another. Because, like I said, he was his vice president. Obviously, they have a very close working relationship. They both know each other's secrets. And there's been, even outright proclamations from, I think it was a stenographer of Obama or Biden, who said that, yes, Biden does have some blackmail on Obama. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's been reported recently. So
yeah, gay stuff is what we heard, right? That's right. And food, water, ammo, 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 ammo.
The reason Biden feels that he's emboldened, that he does have the potential to withstand the storm, even when you have people like George Clooney and some of these other big titan donors saying we're not even going to donate if Biden's there, is because it's Obama supporting him behind the scenes, and Obama supporting him because he believes that with him in power, it's Obama running the show. If Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or some of these other folks that they're talking about, Whitmer or these others, Obama's not going to have the influence behind the scenes that he does with Biden. That's why I don't think Biden is going to get out, barring, and I think there's only one exception to him actually dropping out of this race, is if the GOP in Congress, the FBI, the CIA, or even Democrats on the House leak criminal activity by the Biden family that people like Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz have been alleging for over the last 3 years.
Exactly. So will the Republican, key point, will the Republican establishment join the Democrats to remove Biden, or do they want to keep him in because he's so weak?
But also the
Boom. Shout out to Nigel Fenlon. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, my friend. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's Obama's third term. He's going to hope for a fourth. There's even been talk recently. We covered it either earlier this week or last week with a Yale lawyer talking about Biden putting Obama as his VP, because then if Biden steps down, technically Obama won't have been elected for a third term. He just kind of slides in and bypasses the two-term election limit. So that could be interesting. Let's continue.
Democrats understand that if Biden is there up until the election and past the election, it's going to be a historic rout. I mean, it's literally impossible for Biden to recover, not only from his horrendous debate performance, but of course his weak and feckless policies, which have simultaneously invited a political, security, and economic crisis. And when his own party is on national television, from ABC to CNN to MSNBC, calling for his removal and replacement. So Biden cannot recover from this, whether he wants to or he doesn't. So the Republicans understand that. And the Democrats also understand that if they reveal information about criminality by the Biden family, the entire party is going to look corrupt and dirty. So they're in this horrendous situation. They're caught between a rock and a hard place where they really don't know what to do. They're hoping Biden exits gracefully. I don't think that's going to happen. So I think they're going to have to force him out. They're going to lose this election to Trump, and then they're going to have to re-strategize and reprioritize what this party really is. No, they're extremely concerned because Trump declassified the Russiagate files. That's why I also think that you had this report come out 4 months ago that we were talking about at the beginning of this, that the CIA actually created the operation against the Trump campaign. There's a lot of declassified information out there that Trump wants to get to the American people. He tried to do it in the latter stage of his administration. The deep state puppets within his own administration, including Attorney General Barr, prevented that from happening.
Yeah, he declassified the entire Crossfire Hurricane stack of documents about the insider workings of Russia. And that seems to be the prevailing theory of why they raided Mar-a-Lago, is to try to get back the documents for Crossfire Hurricane, because he declassified them. And then the underlings at the White House failed to fill out all the paperwork and finalize it. So he seemingly took it with him, since he's the executive. All he has to do is snap his fingers and it's declassified. So he may have this information. And then hilariously, the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago and they open the safe and there's nothing there, and Trump's sitting somewhere else. You scumbags, you revealed your desperation with the raid. Hilarious.
So this is where I think we're going to see them try to prevent this information from coming out. But it goes back to what we said earlier, Alex. It's the Democrats are in this bad position that if they get rid of Biden, their party is going to be in disarray. If they keep him in power, you're also going to have a lot of this bad criminal activity revealed about him and his family, and potentially other Democrats. So the deep state right now is a state of panic. I don't think they know what to do. They think that the only way to distract from the domestic issues that Biden faces and the Democrat Party faces is by escalating the conflict abroad or some situation that might happen domestically. But the issue is, people are educated now, Alex. They're not going to fall for this anymore.
Boom. We're not going to fall for it anymore. That's right. It is the great awakening. People are waking up faster than ever before. I can tell you from personal experience. That Veronica Vaughn is one fine piece of ace. Sorry, Billy Madison reference. I woke up in 2008, and back then it was like squaring off against an avalanche of disinformation and zombies that like everybody across the board said I was a lunatic. You know, I'm not a lunatic. I'm just ahead of the curve. So now the information landscape is totally different. I can tell you firsthand that people are really waking up now. When I say stuff like I used to say back in the day, people don't ridicule me the way they used to. So this full interview is probably really good. I like George Papadopoulos. He seems like a really cool, collected, intelligent guy. Link to the full interview will be in the description beneath the broadcast shortly after we finish. For now, let's jump over to our next topic. Back over at Gateway Pundit with Jim Hoft. Surprise! MSNBC's Joe Scarborough says Biden campaign believes Barack Obama is the mastermind behind the coup to replace Biden as the Democrat nominee. That's what everybody seems to be agreeing on at this point. Ugh, look at that punchable Muppet face. He looks like Beaker. Is that the right guy? Numerous influential Democrats have started to publicly urge Joe Biden to renounce his candidacy for the 2024 presidential election. This sudden wave of opposition has emerged following concerns regarding Biden's age, his capability to hold office, and his performance in the initial debate against Donald J. Trump. This should come as no surprise to everybody who reads Gateway Pundit, as they've been calling it out forever. But the latest reports suggest at least 10 Democrat lawmakers have openly requested Biden to withdraw from the race, according to Al Jazeera. Several mega donors and Hollywood elites have also joined the chorus, expressing their desire for a change in Democrat leadership. Wednesday, far-left Hollywood star George Clooney publicly urged Biden to step down and not seek re-election. On Thursday, MSNBC's Morning Joe host Joe Scarborough revealed that there is a growing belief within the Democrat Party and the Biden campaign that Barry Soetoro, lightning from heaven himself, the Antichrist allegedly, is orchestrating a coup to replace a duly elected Democrat nominee for the 2024 presidential election. Well, if he's been in control the whole time, it's hardly a coup. It's just replacing the figurehead. Quote, well, forget the quote. We'll just watch the video.
I'll say one thing that we do have to underline here, just so viewers can follow what's going on behind the scenes, is the Biden campaign and many Democratic officials do believe that Barack Obama is quietly working behind the scenes to orchestrate this.
You figured that out all on your own, Joe? Really good job there. Such a good job. Quote. So let's see. Scarborough added that Biden is deeply resentful of his treatment under not only the Obama staff, but also how he was sidelined for Hillary Clinton in 2016. According to The Hill, Mika Brzezinski, Scarborough's co-host and wife and daughter of the scumbag Zbigniew Brzezinski, consummate globalist insider, depopulationist scumbag, chimed in with her thoughts, stating, quote, I think Barack Obama has a lot of influence. And there's a lot there. Yeah, it's probably true. Probably true. Biden went on to have a Zoom call with Hispanic lawmakers that went horribly sideways, with the host abruptly ending the call after Democrat tells Biden to drop out of the race. This one by Christina Layla. Joe Biden on Friday participated in a Zoom call. He was an hour late. Starting off with really great, Joe. He was late to the big boy press conference as well, so he already fucked it up before the press conference even started. And the first question, his first sentence answering, he called President Heels Up Harris, Vice President Heels Up Harris, Vice President Trump. Unbelievable. So he was meeting with members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and things went sideways when a lawmaker told Biden to drop out of the race. According to Notice, the Zoom call was tightly controlled, and only 2 lawmakers were allowed to ask Biden questions. Sounds right. They're probably pre-approved, and the guy probably went off script and asked this question, is my guess. Biden tried to open the discussion and said more lawmakers can ask questions. Rep. Mike Levin told Biden to drop out of the 2024 race, and the host, Rep. Linda Sanchez, abruptly ended the Zoom call because the President of the United States can't be allowed to speak freely. This is crazy. Notice, Notus, reported, as President Joe Biden tries to walk with Democratic lawmakers and relieve their concerns, a virtual meeting with members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus on Friday appears to have caused more problems than it solved. For starters, Biden showed up an hour late to the Zoom call, according to a source familiar with the meeting, and it didn't get much better from there. Imagine keeping people with busy-ass schedules, lawmakers, waiting for an hour, 1/10 of the workday, effectively. It's not cool. Not cool. You can't do that and expect to be respected after the fact. I mean, I keep you guys waiting for long enough, like 15 minutes to get the show started every day. Sorry. Organizers of the Zoom meeting had said only 2 members were allowed to ask questions, Reps Sylvia Garcia and Lou Correa. But Biden opened up the floor to more questions, going off script. The source familiar with the call told Notice, at least the president tried to open up the meeting to more questions. Yeah, but he's not actually in control. So the second that it goes sideways, they just shut it down, whoever his masters within the White House are. The source said leaders of Bold PAC, the political arm of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, tightly controlled who could ask questions. Reps Gabe Vasquez and Maria Glusenkamp Perez, MGP, who recently called for Biden to resign, not only to step down, but to resign from the presidency, Nixon style. Both used the raise hand feature on the Zoom call, and both had their hands lowered by organizers of the call and were not allowed to speak. What's the point of having a press conference or, a Zoom call with the president and waiting an hour if you can't even ask a simple question? Shout out to Kat E. Larson, just started following us on Rumble. What's up, Kat? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you giving me a chance to earn your viewership. That's right. Biden is spiraling. A coordinated Democrat rebellion is underway. And like Kid Rock said in Joe Dirt, let's see if I can find the right spot of this.
Back in a few days. See? She signed it right there. Brandy.
Right here.
XO. That's right, Dirt. Nobody wants you in this town.
Nobody wants you, Joe.
Nobody wants you around, period.
Nobody wants you around, Joe. Oh, look at Joe Biden. He's crying.
Fellas.
You
crying, boy?
Call the ambulance.
You crying, boy? Maybe we'll go back down to McDonald's and get you a Whamburger and some French fries. How about a Weineken? You little sissy boy! Damn leopard sucks!
Your wife, Jill, Alice Cooper Biden sucks. Somebody's got to take that clip and put Joe Biden's head on Joe Dirt. Oh, man, I thought that was hilarious. So let's jump into our next topic for the day. We had Georgia State Election Board calling an emergency meeting as the Fulton County unlawfully creates, quote, team of monitors for the 2024 election that was not approved by the state. Interesting. The Georgia State Elections Board has called for an emergency meeting today, July 12, writes Jim Hoft. The move comes in response to reports that Fulton County officials have unlawfully established a team of monitors for the upcoming 2024 elections without state approval. Breaking. The Georgia State Election Board has scheduled an emergency meeting today. Why? because corrupt Fulton County officials have created a team of, quote, monitors for the 2024 election that have no approval from the state. They're getting ready to cheat. Again, former Newsmax and OANN News White House correspondent Emerald Robinson wrote on X. Former Trump administration chief spokeswoman Liz Harrington confirmed this on social media platform X, stating, quote, in response to SEB 2023-025, Fulton County and Ratburger's office are trying to ram through a, quote, monitoring team, unquote, that would put those who helped cover up 2020 in charge of observing Fulton County in 2024. Harrington further detailed her concerns about the proposed monitoring team's members. The list includes Ryan Germany, Ratburger's general counsel in 2020, Matt Mashburn, former SEB member who sicked the FBI on the author of the SEB 2023-025 complaint, Monica Childers, who worked on the hand count audit for Voting Works, whose software ARLO included fraudulent entries amounting to at least 4,081 false Biden votes, Harrington wrote. So here's the proposal for the monitoring group, including these rhinos and flunkies. Harrington further highlighted screenshots allegedly showing bias on the part of Childers. She called for real transparency and accountability over these elections, arguing that nothing will change the same cover-up artists in charge. So here's Monica Childers saying, I wish this didn't need to be said. But it does. Oh, NPR, if they're saying it, odds are the opposite's true. NPR says people in charge of elections have been warning for years that President Trump's constant, blatant falsehoods about elections could one day lead to violence. These people are sick, mentally sick. Liberalism is a mental disorder. So is rhinoism. I don't know what this lady's political leanings are, but she's, I think you guys probably know exactly what she is. It's pure evil! That's right. It is pure evil. Chris, here she is pointing down to Chris Krebs. Fair warning. We'll see more challenges to election results this week. Look to election officials for the latest info. Remember, there are paper ballots in all the states under the microscope. Voter verifiable paper audit trails ensure machines aren't something or other. Doesn't really, but there's a problem. According to the documentation Harrington referenced, the establishment of such a team required prior agreement before a critical July 9th state election board meeting, a stipulation evidently bypassed by the county. Just like how the left bypasses everything, all constitutional requirements, all checks and balances from the other branches of the government. The Supreme Court says you can't pay back private student loans. And Biden's like, bypass, we'll do it anyway. Quote, Fulton County voted to approve this proposal yesterday, but there's a problem. At the May 7th state election board meeting, a monitoring team was contingent on being agreed to before the July 9th meeting. This did not happen, Harrington wrote. Now they're trying to ram through a 2020 cleanup crew to make sure 2024 is, quote, legit, right? Because everything's opposite with these losers. So we'll have to keep our eyes on this. More information about it in the link in the description after the video if you want to check it out. Let's jump to our next topic. Over at Zero Hedge, RFK Jr. gains ballot access in more states and hits roadblocks in others. This one is by Jeff Louderbeck via the Epoch Times. As former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden prepare to receive their respective parties' nominations at their national conventions, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is inching closer to getting on the ballot in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. On July 10th, Indiana County officials announced they had certified around 39,000 petition signatures to place the independent candidate on the state's general election ballot. That same day, through the We the People Party, Mr. Kennedy said he turned in the required number of signatures to get on the ballot in Georgia. The campaign also announced that the New York State Board of Elections determined the candidate submitted 108,680 valid signatures for ballot access in that state, more than double the 45,000 required. Pretty impressive. On July 11th, Mr. Kennedy's campaign announced it had submitted enough signatures to gain ballot access in Colorado. The campaign turned in more than 30,000 signatures, which is also more than double the 12,000 required in Colorado, according to the statement. Last week, Libertarian Party of Colorado, LPCO, nominated Mr. Kennedy as its presidential candidate, though the National Party selected loser Chase Oliver in its national convention in May. Quote, "We hope to place RFK Jr. on 2 ballot lines in Colorado, where in the tradition of fusion voting, Coloradans will see him running as an independent and with support from the Libertarian Party of Colorado," LPCO Chair Hannah Goodman said in a statement. The Kennedy-Shanahan ticket is officially on the ballot in 9 states now: California, Delaware, Hawaii, Michigan, Minnesota, New Mexico, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Utah. So he's definitely making progress, although doesn't Shanahan have some sketchy connections to the whole Koof jab type scenario? Didn't her family come from communist China or something? We looked at like a spiderweb connection chart the other day that showed money going from Zuckerberg down to this organization and being split into all these groups, and Shanahan was connected in there somewhere. I don't remember exactly the details, but sketchy nonetheless. The campaign has submitted signatures for ballot access in Alaska, Colorado, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Texas, and Washington. The ticket has also collected enough signatures for ballot access in Florida, Idaho, Iowa, Mississippi, New Hampshire, and Nevada. Mr. Kennedy initially ran for the Democrat Party nomination. After encountering multiple roadblocks from DNC, he went third party. So he has indeed accepted nominations from third parties in some states, but there are also legal challenges. Democrats and Republicans alike have expressed concern that Mr. Kennedy could take away votes from their respective presidential candidates. Earlier this year, DNC announced the creation of a team to counter third-party and independent presidential candidates. Over the past 2 months, the DNC and Clear Choice, a super PAC aligned with President Biden to counter third-party candidates, have objected to Mr. Kennedy's appearance on the ballot with legal filings in 4 states, including battlegrounds of Nevada and North Carolina. What kind of garbage political system do we have where one party can file to get candidates from other parties off the ballot? It's such bullshit. There are problems with in North Carolina and Nevada. Ballot access status of parties headlined by Mr. Kennedy and Mr. West remains undetermined after a July 9th meeting of the North Carolina State Board of Elections. The NCSBE officially certified the Constitution Party to run candidates in the state's November general elections, but it delayed action for an unspecified time on Mr. Kennedy's We the People Party and Mr. West's Justice for All Party. Are we talking about Kanye West here? What's that guy? Cornel West, racist douchebag. That guy's the worst, man. It's the second time in less than a month that the panel didn't vote to add We the People and Justice for All to the state general election ballot. So there are problems in Nevada as well, as Mr. Kennedy's campaign said in a statement last week that it had turned in the required signatures for the second time. Earlier this year, Kennedy submitted more than 20,000 signatures in Nevada, 10,000 more than a minimum. Initially, the Secretary of State's office approved the circulation of Mr. Kennedy's nominating petition. In March, Nevada Secretary of State Francisco Aguilar said the petitions were signed without the name of a vice president and were therefore invalid. So they're doing anything they can to interfere with RFK getting on the ballot. It's probably because they know that he'll take more votes from the left than from the right. So as nervous as a third-party candidate makes me for like a Ross Perot situation that helped Bill Clinton get into office, this time with him backing reparations and stuff, it may take more votes away from the left. So might not be a bad thing to have a powerful, relatively powerful third-party candidate on the ticket this year. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. For our next story, Randy DeSoto at the Western Journal writes, court just nailed Hillary Cankles Clinton for FEC violation 45 times bigger than Trump 45's $130,000 so-called violation. The Washington, D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled Tuesday that the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign and an affiliated super PAC violated federal election law in spending that totaled close to $6 million. The amount in question is more than 45 times the $130,000 a Manhattan court convicted former President Donald Trump of misreporting in his business records during the same 2016 campaign. But will we have one tier of justice for these two people being alleged to have violated FEC regulations and election law? Probably not. Probably not. We'll have to wait and see. But continuing, it should be noted that the Federal Election Commission and the Justice Department looked at the payments Trump made through his personal attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, to adult film star Stormy Daniels as part of a non-disclosure agreement and declined to prosecute him. And then, as we know, they decided to prosecute him anyway. Regarding the Clinton campaign case, the D.C. Circuit found the super PAC correct the record. What a bullshit name. Everything they do is to obfuscate and misrepresent the record. Anyway, correct the record, quote, set out to engage in a wide range of coordinated activities to support Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. And in an administrative complaint filed with the Federal Election Commission, nonprofit watchdog Campaign Legal Center alleges that Correct the Record spent close to $6 million in coordination with the Clinton campaign during the lead-up to the 2016 election, including to conduct polls, hire teams of round-the-clock fact-checkers, and connect Clinton media surrogates with radio and television news outlets, the court said. The three-judge panel noted that Correct the Record coordinated all these activities with Clinton's campaign, quote, but it characterized all of the committee's myriad expenditures, from staff salaries and travel expenses to the cost of commissioning polls and renting offices as, quote, inputs to unpaid communications over the internet. For that reason, neither Correct the Record nor the Clinton campaign designated any of Correct the Record's expenditures as contributions to the campaign, the ruling said. In other words, Correct the Record committed FEC business record violations, if you will, by failing to properly account for money spent to help the Clinton campaign, which is exactly what they're accusing Trump of. The FEC had dismissed the complaint against the Clinton campaign and Correct the Record, citing an internet exemption citing an internet exemption had allowed them not to list the coordination between the two, but the D.C. Circuit Court found that decision was in error. Quote, we hold that the commission acted contrary to law in dismissing the complaint, because we conclude that the internet exemption cannot be read to exempt from disclosure those expenditures that are only tangentially related to an eventual internet message or post. The commission's reading of the internet exemption stretches it beyond lawful limits. Uh-oh, Hillary. As to those expenditures that it deemed not to be covered by the internet exemption, the commission acted contrary to law in dismissing the complaint for want of reason to believe the relevant expenditures were coordinated with the campaign, despite plausible allegations that Correct the Record coordinated all its expenditures with Hillary with Hillary for America, and openly acknowledged doing so. They upheld a federal district court's ruling concluding the same and directed the FEC to conform its findings consistent with the judge's decision. In a separate matter, the Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee agreed in 2022 to pay $113,000 to settle an FEC investigation into alleged violations of campaign finance law in relation to funding the infamous Steele dossier during the 2016 race. According to AP, Steele dossier being the linchpin of Russia. So it's just funny that the whole Russia thing is coming back into the forefront now, with the intelligence community saying, uh-oh, we got to watch out. Russia's making plans to interfere on President Trump's behalf, when in fact it was the Clinton campaign that hired Perkins Coie, which then hired Fusion GPS, a research and intelligence firm, to conduct opposition research on the Republican candidate Donald Trump's ties to Russia. But on FEC forums, the Clinton campaign classified the spending as legal services. Interesting. That's interesting because that's exactly the violation Bragg said the Trump organization committed in relation to paying Cohen. The initial complaint, according to the AP, charged that, quote, by intentionally obscuring their payments through Perkins Coie and failing to publicly disclose the true purpose of those payments. The campaign and DNC, quote, were able to avoid publicly reporting on their statutorily required FEC disclosure forms the fact that they were paying Fusion GPS to perform Oppo research on Trump with the intent of influencing the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. The Clinton campaign and DNC had argued that the payments had been described accurately, but agreed, according to the documents, to settle without conceding to avoid further legal costs, the outlet noted. Trump made the same point in relation to the payment for Cohen, but on stronger grounds. Cohen was his personal attorney at the time. In addition to paying the lawyer's fees, the money had gone to reimburse him for funds paid to Daniels as part of his non-disclosure agreement, i.e. a contract. That's right. It's just average, everyday NDAs and settlements. So there's nothing illegal or unusual about any of that. So Clinton and the DNC pay an FEC administrative fine and the matter is done with. But Trump has to go through a 6-week criminal trial and faces potential jail time. And Democrats wonder why they're accused of overseeing a 2-tiered system of justice. So will we get anything out of this? Will this be reopened or anything? Will Clinton and co. be prosecuted? Probably not, unfortunately, because it is indeed a 2-tier system of justice. Next, we have Donald Trump announcing the 4 finalists on his VP shortlist. I agree with the Hodge twins over here who say, none of them. Carson, Vivek, or General Flynn are the picks. And those sound like 3 good ones to me, but we have losers, Burgum, Rubio, Vance, and Youngkin as the picks. What? Trump, what the hell are you doing, man? This was the problem in 2016. You picked Mike Pence. You picked all these swamp losers, like Alex Jones says. It's understandable. He's got to have a goblin guide to go through the swamp. But we don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, or in bed with goblins. And these are a bunch of goblins here, as far as I can tell, at least Rubio. But none of these other ones are, particularly good, in my opinion. Wasn't J.D. Vance a never Trumper? Like, are you kidding me, DJT? What's going on here? Listen to the people. Look at the polls on X. Everybody, every poll has Vivek winning by 50% or higher that I've seen. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Vivek. That's fine. Pick General Flynn. Pick Steve Bannon. Pick Ben Carson. Anybody but these losers. Lehu Zuher. Owen Schroyer says, I believe the reason Democrats are hammering Project 2025 so much is to separate Trump from Carson VP pick, since Carson wrote a chapter in the Project 2025 book. Makes sense. That's a really good take, Owen. They're afraid Carson will help Trump win black voters, so they need to separate them. Sort of like how they knew how dangerous Flynn was going into Trump's term in 2016, and so they sabotaged Flynn right off the bat to prevent that from gaining a foothold. AKA says, come on, Vivek. I want to see him take over in 2028. He's the future of MAGA. Well, William Douglas over here after the press conference last night, the big boy press conference. It'll be forever known in history as the big boy press conference. How fucking embarrassing, dude. He should fire John Kirby and throw him into a volcano, allegedly, after due process. FBI's asshole, fuck you. Well, that list is no longer available since Joe Biden has picked Donald Trump to be his VP pick. Hilarious. We've got a Gateway Pundit covering this story as well. President Trump names 4 VP finalists during interview, wants to do cognitive test with Dementia Joe on live TV. Oh my God. Can you imagine him, Trump and Biden doing a cognitive test live on TV? It would be the top viewed broadcast of all time. No question about it. It would be legendary. While most of the focus, this is Cullen Linebarger writing this article, while most of the focus is on the presidential soap opera unfolding on Capitol Hill regarding Joe Biden's crumbling political future, President Trump has made some news on the vice presidential front during a radio interview today and tossed out an interesting challenge to Dementia Joe. Trump told co-host Clay Travis of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show, Buck Sexton, I don't know anything about that dude except that his name is pretty fucking badass. So Trump said he's down to 4 or 5 candidates and specifically named 4 finalists, all male GOP senators Marco Rubio of Florida, J.D. Vance of Ohio, Tim Scott of South Carolina. He also mentioned North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. So interestingly, they had a different list with the Hodge twins over here. They don't mention Tim Scott, and they have Youngkin instead on the list. Anyway, Joe Biden style. None of these names will come as a surprise to Gateway Pundit readers, but Trump could always throw a curveball, like Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin. So they do mention him. Let's listen to the audio of this interview and hear what Trump has to say.
Vice President, you've done a good job, I think, of creating a lot of different drama associated with who the vice president is going to be. Can you tell us, have you made up your mind on your pick yet? And second part of that, have you decided on how the vice president is going to be announced?
I'd love to do it during the convention. You know, the Republican convention's a big deal. And in the old days, they used to do it that way. Now technology makes it more difficult. I say, no, it's supposed to make it easier. It makes it actually more difficult, if you can believe it. But I'd love to do it during the convention, which would be, you know, or just slightly before the convention, like Monday. Love to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday, actually. But for a lot of complex reasons that you people understand, you pretty much don't do that. And I have some really, really good candidates. And
not so much, DJT. I agree with Donna. Carrie Lake would be way better than any of these picks. Carrie Lake is a freaking G, man. She's awesome. Oh, man, Candace Owens, what a suggestion. That would be lit, to use the modern lingo. That would be nuts, man. Candace Owens as VP. They definitely wouldn't want that. That would be a good insurance policy for Trump. Let's continue.
And you know, maybe leaning one way, and that changes sometimes. You know, all of a sudden you see something that you like or you don't like, and you lean a little bit differently. But we have a very good bench. We have a very good bench.
How would you announce it? Do you call up everybody? Like, how many finalists would you say you have right now? And is it like a job offer? Do you call them up? Do you bring them in person? Have you thought about how you would convey that offer?
It's like a highly sophisticated version of The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Okay, if you think about it. And they're great people. They're really good. I got to know them very well. I'd say 4 people, 4 or 5 people, but I got to know them very well. Some dropped.
I feel you, Lisa. Very divisive figure there with Candace. It'd be a good insurance policy at the absolute minimum, though.
Out over the course of, they didn't drop. You know, there were reasons why they wouldn't have done as well.
I like Carson, too.
So it's still open, though, sir. You're telling us that it's not necessarily a done deal in your mind. Is that right? You're still thinking it over.
I'm going into great detail. But more ultimately, awesome. It's more of an instinct. You know, you develop an instinct, but I like to know all the facts before the instinct kicks in.
Ron Paul is also really old at this point. So it wouldn't be necessarily viable to have somebody on point ready to step up to be president. 12 years ago would have been awesome. Unfortunately, though, the media gave him the shaft. That you could look at this thing called Google Trends back in like 2008, 2012, and you could watch in live time as searches for Ron Paul skyrocketed on Google. Woo, it went parabolic. And simultaneously with that, news appearances, which also were tracked on Google Trends, minutes live on the air on the news, tanked. So the more that people searched for him, the more the news suppressed him, unfortunately, and just slandered him as nut job and crazy and all this stuff. But Ron Paul would be the best, in my opinion.
The people are fantastic. Like, I watched Tim Scott on television yesterday. He was fierce and great. He was great. I watched Marco over the weekend on television. He was incredible. JD's been great. You have a man named Burgum, who's a fantastic governor in North Dakota.
He's Doc.
And, you know, it's a state that's very, very prosperous, very successful.
Lisa
and
knows.
He's done a good job there. You have some terrific people.
I would like to see Vivek on that list. Well, I know a lot of other people would not, but interesting stuff. We'll have to keep our eyes on it. I don't necessarily like any of these picks per se. Ben Carson would be superior to all of them in my opinion. Don't worry about the 2025 stuff. I don't think. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. Bill Dozer 74 had a good stream last night where he compared Project 2025 to Agenda 47 and the things that overlapped and the differences between them. He did a good job breaking it down. Make sure to check out Bill Dozer 74 on Rumble and watch last night's streams. He did a really good job. Shout out to Bill Dozer. What's up, bro? Let's check out this clip of Trump suggesting a cognitive test live on TV with Biden.
I am cognitively great. Perfect. And I've had tests. I do it routine, whenever I do. I just did a physical, by the way, and I came out perfectly. We'll announce those numbers soon or whatever I have to announce. I suggest that we go in together and do a cognitive test. We'll do cognitive tests. We'll do it together like a team.
Would you do it on television live, like a cognitive test on television with him?
I would do whatever they want. I'd do the test. I'd do mental acuity tests with him. I would do whatever would be appropriate. I deal with
STD
people that
tests.
are much older than Biden. They're 100%. Biden is unusual in a way, but I've spoken to people much older than him, and they're 100%.
100%. Yeah, Biden is like at 14%. He's at like 1.5 Fettermans, if you want to use the Fetterman intelligence unit. I like that one. It's pretty good. Thanks, Salty, for that idea. Let's jump into our next topic, and we'll keep a close eye, obviously, on Trump and his VP picks as we get closer to the election. Ed just posted a song in the chat that he said is really good by Tommy Vexed, America Meant to Me. So check that out when you guys have a chance. He says it hits really, really good, hits well. So thanks, Ed. I'll be checking that out later as well. Let's hop over to this next story. Mama Mac sent this to me. Make sure to follow Mama Mac on X at _Mama Mac _ What the illegitimate Biden regime is doing to American cities is unconstitutional and criminal. Crazy B sent me this one too. Congratulations to Crazy B on your new vehicle. Sounds like a fun vehicle to whip around in. So shout out to Crazy B as well. Mama Mac and Crazy B reposting I meme, therefore I am. At I'm Meme 0, new 1,200 miles away from the southern border, a small Ohio town is battling a surge of Haitian illegal aliens. Springfield, with a population of 58,000, was overwhelmed by 20,000 migrants. That's insane. Almost half the population of the entire town, close to a third. The mayor of the city says that this migrant surge not only taxes the city beyond its limits, but also contributes to the collapse of the small town. This is like a microcosm, fractal example of the Cloward Piven strategy, where you bring in so many migrants that it overstresses and collapses the system. Vance, let's take a look at this clip from Fox.
As thousands of Haitian migrants have arrived on their doorstep because of the federal government, the Haitian migrant population in the city has skyrocketed to an estimated 50 to 20,000. That is about 1/3 of the city's entire population. Senator J.D. Vance brought this to light during a hearing with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell.
What role do you see illegal immigration playing in driving up housing costs, which of course is a main driver of inflation for American citizens?
My sense is that in the long run, immigration is kind of neutral on inflation. In the short run, it may actually have helped.
In my conversations with folks in Springfield, it's not just housing. There are a whole host of ways in which this immigration problem, I think, is having very real human consequences.
Rob Rue is the mayor of Springfield, Ohio, and Brian Heck is the city manager. And
does every state have a Springfield? And did we figure out where the Simpsons was? Was it in Oregon? I can't remember.
They both join me now. Good morning to you both. Mayor Rue, tell us what's going on in Springfield.
Well, what we've seen is just such a quick increase of our population over the last 5 years. Like you said, up to 15 to 20,000 immigrants have come across and into our community. This has overwhelmed our safety services and caused great concern for our community.
Brian, you're the city manager. Tell us more and how this influx is impacting the city.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for having us on this morning. When we see a 25% increase over a 3-year period, we're a community, we do not have the capacity to sustain that. And it's taxing our infrastructure. It's taxing public safety. It's taxing our schools. It's taxing healthcare.
Housing. What do you have 60,000 people living in your town, 58,000, and 20,000 show up? Where are they all supposed to live, man? It's not like houses just pop out of nowhere. That's why another reason why just mass migration doesn't work. Systems have to account for everybody, so there needs to be supply and demand working together to enable populations to move around. It's crazy, man.
And as JD Vance spoke on, it's taxing our housing. We had a housing shortage well before this immigration crisis that's impacted our community, and this has just made it 100 times worse. And so it's setting communities like Springfield up to fail, and we do not have the capacity to sustain it. And without additional federal assistance or support, again, communities like Springfield will fail.
Yeah, Mayor Rue, big cities like New York City, Chicago, they get a lot of attention when it comes to this issue. But these mid-sized cities like yours are really struggling here as well, and are probably at even a greater disadvantage because the resources aren't there.
One of the good things Bill mentioned last night, Billdozer74 on his broadcast, I think it was on his show, that people were like, oh, yeah, good job to DeSantis and to Governor Abbott in Texas for shipping these illegals to blue cities to help raise awareness about the problems caused by migration, by illegal immigration. Flustercluck99, JD Vance looks dirty or unkempt to me. I think he can do a better beard job. Yeah, I agree. Anyway. So people were like, yeah, it's good that they're sending all these immigrants, these illegals into the cities to help wake people up to the fact that this is disastrous. But at the same time, it's like they're helping sending illegal immigrants to be counted in the census in these blue areas to give House of Representatives more electoral representation in the House of Representatives to these blue areas. So it's like a double-sided sword, where it's helping wake people up and causing a revolt against the illegal migration, but it's also setting them up to get more electoral representation. So we need to win 2024. We need the mass deportation Trump agenda to take place to get rid of all these illegals before they permanently alter the electoral demographics of the country. Zeppelin! What's up, dude? Space Lord, motherfucker. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's continue.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at the impact that it would be on an area like New York, if they would receive 700,000 people at once, that would be the impact that it's having on our area, the growth that it's had. And our safety services are exhausted because they're trying to care for the people in a safe manner. It's become just very difficult. This border crisis, the policy of this administration is failing cities like ours and taxing us beyond our limits.
Yeah, Brian, so what drew so many migrants, Haitian migrants, to Springfield in the first place? And now that they're here, they might not want to leave. What do you do?
Yeah, so, available jobs and affordable housing is what drew the Haitian migrants to our community in the first place. They're a very communal culture. And so once they come to a place and they find a place where there's jobs, housing, and so forth, they're going to tell more to come to Springfield, Ohio. And unfortunately, you mentioned federal funding and resources. Funding is tied to population, and these are not captured by the federal government. The influx of 15 to 20,000 is not captured in our community. And so our federal funding has actually been reduced over the last couple of years. And so that's concerning to us as a community, because certainly adding 15 to 20,000, we need additional support. We need additional resources. And, frankly, the federal government, once they cross the border and come into our country, they do not know where they're going. Yeah. Well, they're coming to communities like Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah, it's so true. So
brutal. That's right. Congratulations to Zeppelin for winning a copy of one of our books. He doesn't read, but then this one's perfect for you, man. It's all censored, nothing to read anyway. So if you want, let me know where to send your copy of Common Censored. You can always pay it forward too if you want, and I can give it away to somebody else. But it's yours if you want it. Congratulations to our winners. We have Mandy J. Lawson, who won a copy of one of the books. Crazy B, who won a copy. Threeper and Zep. Congratulations, guys. If anybody wants to enter to win copies of one of our books, all you got to do is hit that big, beautiful join button beneath the broadcast to subscribe and for like $5 a month to support the show. Or you can Rumble Rant. You'll automatically be entered as well, and we'll read Rumble Rants if anybody is so inclined to make their voices heard throughout the broadcast. You can also, anybody that tips via PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or Google Pay will also be automatically entered as well. So shout out to all you guys supporting the show. Appreciate it, and thank you for keeping us alive. Let's jump over to our next topic, another one sent by Mama Mac. More evidence of what she considers treason. This one's from Wall Street Apes at Wall Street Apes. On X, whistleblower, border agent comes forward against the VA. Under the Biden administration, the VA is paying for health care for illegal immigrants as over 400,000 American veterans and their families are forced to wait. Are you kidding me? They're paying for illegals' health care while the veterans that the VA is designed to take care of are sitting there waiting. There's homeless veterans and children in this country, and they're giving money to illegals. This is insane. Let's check out this little clip. Thanks, Mom Mac, for sending this.
To us in October, this brave whistleblower who's a border agent that came and said that VA was paying for health care. And I still don't have all of the facts, but it appears VA is not directly providing to the immigrants. It seems VA is a middleman between the Department of Homeland Security and the hospitals. But the Biden administration has to answer to taxpayers and Congress. And as of yet, the VA has not answered to us. So we're still continuing to aggressively go at this. VA resources should always be directed to the veterans, period. And I believe that we must expand the improve VA care in the community to ensure veterans health care that they need, they're receiving it. And it's not being siphoned off to this border problem to us in October, this brave whistleblower who's a border.
So crazy, man. VA shouldn't be doing that. I agree, Mama Mac. That's some treason type stuff. Let's jump over to our next topic, also from Wall Street Apes. I think Mama Mac sent this one as well. Americans are being poisoned. Quote, suppliers have been caught using a special product known as meat glue. Sounds delicious. To glue together scraps of meat. What? What? Meat glue, also known as transglutaminase, is legal in all 50 states. It is used in about 8 million pounds of meat every year in America, so it looks like some kind of sugar amalgamation that sticks meat together. This hidden ingredient that's making you sick, quote unquote. Let's check out this video. Oh man, this is gross.
Suppliers have been caught using a special product known as meat glue to stick together scraps of meat to sell as prime cuts. Here's Rodney Lowe's with this special investigation.
I've just got some fine diced beef and my special enzyme. I'm just going to mix it up a bit.
Why have we got the masks on?
Because it's dangerous.
Oh, that's right. Sugars are OS. Enzymes are ACE. My bad. So it's some kind of enzyme. It's not a sugar.
See that? Don't breathe that in.
This powder is transglutaminase enzyme, otherwise known as meat glue. Meat glues come in a number of forms, some produced by cultivating bacteria, the others, the primary ingredient comes from the blood plasma of pigs and cattle, specifically the coagulant which causes blood to clot. Ours uncooked is easy to spot the difference, but cooked is another story.
Is this the pink slime stuff, guys?
Okay, so the meat glue one is on the right, and the real McCoy is on the left. And it's not just beef. Pork, lamb, fish, and chicken are all stuck back together using this glue.
If this food is sold or represented as a solid piece of steak and you cook it rare, you're really leaving yourself open to get food poisoning.
And chances are, unless you're a vegetarian, you're eating it on a regular basis.
Oh, it's so gross, man. It's so freaking gross. Ugh.
You're gonna spew. Spew into this.
Thanks, Garth, but I don't think that's big enough to contain the spew. Zep, let me check for you real quick. It is at Cash App. Yep. $ common censored, my friend. Thank you for your continued support of the show. I really appreciate you. Let's jump over to our next topic, which involves Del Bigtree, who is a dude who I've seen on InfoWars a bunch of times over the years. Is he working for the RFK Jr. campaign? Let me know in the chat. Mama Mac, thanks for sending this one as well. She says, the WEF and New World Order can kiss my American ass. Stay in Europe where you originated and belong. Del Bigtree over here, posted by Camus. Let's watch the video and see what's going on with Mr. Bigtree.
But when you think of where it was coming from, and this is the part we're going to talk about, it wasn't coming from inside the United States. This was something coming from around the world. Something made every government act exactly the same way. And I will tell you, when I was in Geneva, it all became very clear. A great investigative reporter that spent many years in Afghanistan asked me if I'd like to drive around and see the different complexes being built. I didn't get out of the car. I shot the cell phone just sort of out of the window at things like, this is the WEF compound that's being built there. It goes down the side of the hill. Every one of these facilities is armed guards and surveillance cameras. This is the new WHO building that they're building, this complex. There's skyscrapers going up, cranes, and right here there's a tunnel that drives right into this driveway from the airport. They can literally move people in and out of the airport from all over the world. You can land on the Swiss side or the French side. No one will know you came and went. IOM, Institute of Immigration, UNESCO. They're building an empire there, folks. And as Jimmy, who I travel with, my manager, said, this is like a super villain's paradise. I can't stress to you enough how chilling it actually was to see what's being built there. They have it's like a world takeover is being staged, and these massive complexes designed to run the world from Geneva are going up. And so it's no doubt that the IHR rules pass. I guarantee you the World Health Organization's treaty will eventually pass. They don't plan on stopping, folks. This thing is real. This is how they take over the world. They can't stand the United States of America. They hate our Constitution. We were really a hiccup in the entire, plan to take over the world. They really, because we stood our ground and 30% of us didn't get the vaccine, is probably one of the few reasons this thing didn't sweep, that we're not all, carrying vaccine trackers in our cell phones. But I want to tell you, it is real. It's happening.
100% evil.
And it's pure evil. It's pure evil, guys. Oh, man. So good job, Del Bigtree, exposing all of this. Let's hop over to our next topic involving one of Trump's White House lawyers. Again, Mama Mac sending more evidence of treason from the Hodge twins, who reposted at Amuse. I've got to refollow all these accounts since X canceled our our _ common censored account. Election fortification, Amuse writes. Trump's White House lawyer admitted to engineering a plan with the help of top DOJ officials to prevent any investigation into 2020 election fraud. The DOJ never investigated any of the incidents witnessed by the GOP, and the courts cooperated. So we have this article over here by Amuse. White House lawyer admits he blocked investigation into the 2020 election fraud. Pat Philbin testified that he organized a coup, effectively, within the DOJ to prevent Trump from appointing Jeff Clark as Attorney General to investigate the 2020 election. As a result, the DOJ actively blocked all investigations and inquiries into the election. We already knew that Bill Barr was doing this as well. He's like, yeah, I'll take care of the election investigations. Then he'd work to shut it down with this guy, clearly. It's just super insane. The level of just unmitigated gall as they renege on their duties, their legal duties. You know, like we mentioned before, prosecutors and AGs and stuff, they have prosecutorial discretion. So they don't necessarily have to charge you, but they have a duty to investigate. And they bypassed their duties entirely by refusing to investigate at all. Let's see if there's any more stories about this on X. Pat Philbin is the guy's name. Let's do a little search real quick. Pat Philbin. So we have reposting Amuse, reposting Amuse, reposting Amuse. Assured failure. Melissa Hallman posts this one. President Trump's White House lawyer Pat Philbin confessed to organizing a plan with the help of DOJ officials to prevent any investigation into 2020 election fortification. The DOJ never investigated any of the incidents witnessed by the GOP. It was just a few days until January 6, 2021, when Congress was slated to certify Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 election. And Trump had suddenly resuscitated a plan to replace the leadership of the DOJ with Jeffrey Clark, a little-known DOJ official who Trump expected to mount a sweeping nationwide effort to help him remain in power, or to help him get to the truth. I hate the phrasing of this, man. It's not. He wasn't just trying to remain in power. He was trying to get to the truth, get justice, have the accurate election results. If that means him remaining in power, then great. But we know we didn't get the accurate results. Quote, I tried to explain to him that it was a bad idea for multiple reasons, Philbin recalled Tuesday at a long-delayed disbarment hearing for Clark. Well, it doesn't fucking matter what you think, because you're not the boss. The executive, the president is the boss, and you're, violating your responsibilities by refusing to comply with these investigations. Quote, he would be starting down a path of assured failure. If by some miracle somehow it worked, there'd be riots in every major city in the country, and it was not an outcome any country would accept. Who fucking cares? Do the investigation, get to the truth of it. What is it? Justice be done, may the heavens fall. You got to get to the truth. If people riot, then you send out the National Guard or whatever and round them all up and arrest them, because it's shitbag scumwad leftards. Anyway, right? Arrest them all. Who cares? Deport them. Hashtag deport Democrats after a constitutional amendment. That's what I'm suggesting. A constitutional amendment to deport Democrats. Let's do it. It was Philbin's first public testimony about the chaotic final days of the Trump presidency since he left the White House, though Philbin has spoken both to the J6 Select Committee and the federal grand jury that indicted Trump for his effort to seize a second term. Seize a second term? Come on. No transcript or recording of his remarks has ever been released. So there's a Politico article talking about this. Assured failure. Unbelievable. Donald Trump's deputy White House counsel, Pat Philbin, was nervous. It was just a few days. He'd called Clark, a colleague from their days in private practice dating back to the 90s, and tried to talk him out of it. So that's what the quote was. Yeah, so this is just garbage video. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. No transcript of his remarks has been released. Philbin's description of his interactions with Clark shed new light on the frenzied effort by Trump to remake the Justice Department into a tool of his bid to cling to power despite losing the election. Well, that's the thing. We don't know if he lost losing the election. The whole purpose was to find out if he lost the election. So you're drawing conclusions that you're unable to make here without doing the investigation. That's the whole point. A remarkable new account more than 3 years after a mob of pro-Trump rioters stormed the Capitol in his name. His testimony followed Richard Donahue, former acting deputy attorney general. Together, the two men described a White House that had let down all guardrails, with conspiracy theories about election fraud reaching Trump, who was an eager recipient of even implausible claims of fraud. Fuck these people. We're not reading the rest of this garbage article. This guy's a scumbag. Pat Philbin, if you're listening, fuck you. Let's jump over to our next topic. This one was sent by Crazy B. Shout out to Crazy B. we have information regarding an email sent out by Secretary of Education to all student loan borrowers from the studentaid.gov notification email account. It's a campaign email. They're using the Secretary of Education, the official departments, to send out campaign emails trying to bribe voters here. Crazy Bee says they're up to their old antics again. Let's check it out. This is Oilfield Rando posting this at Oilfield_Rando on X. It has to be illegal as shit to use the system this way, but nothing matters anymore. So they're sending out emails to people from the Secretary of Education, the recent federal court decisions on the saving of a valuable education income-driven repayment plan. So they're talking about repaying people for student loans. They're basically using the department here to try to bribe voters into voting for Biden with not through his campaign, through official government channels. This is fucking bullshit. You guys can read the screenshots if you want. Here, I'll put them on screen for a couple seconds so you can screenshot the screenshots if you want. Or you can always rewind to this point in the video. Or I'll take the link and post the tweet in the chat right now so you guys can save this for later if you want to read it. But let's keep moving on. We got a ton of stuff to talk about. We had 3 people show up. 3. Tres. Unos, duo, tres. 3 people showed up to a Biden for President reproductive freedom rally at Pennsylvania State Capitol with legislators. Wow, you'd think that for reproductive freedom type stuff, a cause that's big for the left, that you'd get more than 3 people out. But I guess Biden has just left such a horrible, rancid taste in people's mouths, Hurlcam style taste, that they don't want to show up, even if it's a reproductive freedom rally. If Biden's involved, it seems like. Christina Layla got me on my knees, wrote this article. Look at this massive crowd. A whopping 3 people showed up at a Biden for President rally at the Pennsylvania State Capitol with legislators on Thursday. Quote, Biden for President, reproductive freedom. Members of the PA state legislature will join Amanda Zurowski and Caitlin Joshua, 2 women denied life-saving abortions due to Donald Trump's abortion ban, for a reproductive freedom rally, the announcement said. Sounds like they're still alive to me. 3 people showed up. It's the scheduled start of a Biden for President rally at the PA State Capitol with legislators. There are 3 people here. Hashtag election 2024. So here's the announcement. And here's the beginning of the event. And there's like nobody there. Freaking hilarious, man. There are more news reporters, 4, than rally attendees right now. Dan Bartkowiak writes, the, quote, rally has started. More members of the media than rally attendees. Good thing for these handful of legislators that there's not a state budget to pass in Pennsylvania. So it looks like they got basically nobody. Hilarious. Hilarious. Here's a view from further back, proving that there is, in fact, basically nobody there. Absolutely hilarious. Looks like a DEI crowd, potentially, of legislators. How many of these state legislators will take per diems today from taxpayers to come to Harrisburg and lobby for President Biden to a crowd of nobody? State legislators in attendance on a session day with an overdue budget include House Speaker Joanna McClinton, Rep. Morgan Cephas, Rep. Gina Curry, Rep. Mary Jo Daley, Rep. Tina Davis, Rep. Latasha Mays, Rep. Jennifer O'Mara, Rep. Melissa Schusterman. Not a single dude. Interestingly enough, House Speaker Joanna McClinton voted against the Down Syndrome Protection Act on June 8, 2021, which would have prevented medical professionals from pressuring women into an abortion solely on the basis of a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. Wow. Wow. No one likes smelling adult diapers, the Texas one says. That's hilarious. Titus L. Snyder writes, I'm confused. If they were denied life-saving abortions, life-saving, quote unquote, how are they in attendance? 81 million votes tells me these posts just don't matter. Yeah, 81 million votes, my ass, like that Carrie Lake song, right? Must be one of those crowds Biden, quote, bragged about during his interview with George Stephanopoulos. Which two are the corpses? Oh, man. So embarrassing turnout for Joe Biden, as expected, as usual. Let's hop over to our next story. Thanks again to Mama Mac for sending this one. These people are insane, she says. How are they getting real women to go along with this BS? People with penises have no business being in women's bathrooms. Period. Nice knowing you, John Deere. Reposting Robbie Starbuck at Robbie Starbuck, who says, what you are about to see may be the single craziest training video that I've ever seen. A John Deere source sent me this video where employees are trained on what to do if they overhear employees saying they're uncomfortable with transes identifying men in women's bathrooms. So what's an employee supposed to do if they overhear this discomfort from their female colleagues? Report them, because it's a violation of the man's privacy. Seriously. The training goes on to say that, quote, trans women are women, and they've never not been a woman, so it's not accurate to say that they used to be a man. This is absolutely absurd, Starbuck writes. Got to agree with that. Does John Deere know who they sell farming equipment to? Not a bunch of tranny weirdos. This lunacy needs to stop. Companies all need to stop pushing these topics at work. Stop telling women they can't be upset by men in their bathrooms. Stop creating groups that divide people by race or identity. Stop racial hiring quotas. Stop woke trainings. Stop pushing agendas for political causes. Stop introducing divisive subjects. Ban wokeness in the workplace. Stop woke donations. Make work about work again. Just do good work and make great products and provide great customer service like alplama.com. That's what people want. It seems like the only companies you can find anymore who aren't pushing wokeness are on publicsquare.com. Publicsquare.com. On Public Square, you can search for non-woke alternatives to most products. Mama Mac, maybe you should list Alp Llama on there. At official PSQ knows how important this fight to end wokeness is, so I'm proud to partner with them, he says, to provide people with non-woke alternatives. Yeah, it's good. They have an app you can download as well. Find patriot businesses near you. Good resource to have. John Deere was contacted for comment on this to give them the chance to disavow this training, but they refused to comment by the deadline. If you want to do your part to support our reporting, subscribe to the page there with Robbie Starbuck on X at Robbie Starbuck so you can help power the fight to end wokeness. Together, we can create real, lasting change, and that's our goal here at Common Censored as well. We, the censored commoners, working together to act as force multipliers to help spread information far and wide. Make sure to use hashtag Common Censored when you share the broadcast. And follow us on X also at Lord Sterling _ Sterling with 2 I's, no E's, just so you can find me. Let's check out this video.
All right, y'all have to see this video. It was sent to me by a source at John Deere. I've been exposing how John Deere has gone woke, but this takes the cake. This training video is about a biological man going into the women's bathroom and then an employee overhearing other employees talking about it because they're uncomfortable with a man, even if he's pretending to be a woman, going into the women's bathroom. Here is the training video.
Kathy just started work in my office. She's settling in well. But this morning, I heard a couple of my colleagues gossiping about her. They were saying that Kathy used to be a man, and they're now reluctant to use the same bathroom. I don't know if I should say something.
Now, what do you think it is that this lady's supposed to do? Let me show you. Look at this. Whether or not these rumors are true, Rashmi should report this right away to the appropriate department or manager. Revealing someone's gender identity without their consent before they're ready is called outing someone, which is a violation of their privacy. The gall to say it's a violation of their privacy when they're going into women's bathrooms. It's also important to remember that if Kathy is trans, saying she used to be a man is not accurate. Trans women are women, and they've never not been a woman.
This is from fucking John Deere. What the fuck, dude? This is insane. Like Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy sneakers too. You don't want to make your business divisive and alienate half of your potential customers. In this case with John Deere, probably like 95% of your customers. This is insane.
Am I going crazy, you guys? Like, am I going nuts? Does John Deere know who they sell tractors to? To the CEO, I'm just gonna say, what the hell are you thinking, man? John May, what are you thinking? John Deere customers, if y'all think this is crazy, here's the contact information to...
Boom, make your voice heard. Like you said, am I going crazy here? It reminded me of Mugatu and Zoolander. I feel like I'm on crazy pills. Blue Steel, Ferrari, Magnum, Latigra, they're all the same face. Shout out real quick to McGroin Nation. I just saw you join in the chat. Make sure to head on over to McGroin Nation on Rumble and follow the channel. They have videos playing all day, which function as a gathering point for people in the chat, where they launch raids onto good channels, doing good. Oh, looks like did you guys raid me over here today? I didn't even see it in the comments. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for raiding us. We appreciate it. McGroin Nation on Rumble. Check them out. A faction of the Bongino Army doing good work, spreading love to good conservative and MAGA America First broadcasts all across the Rumble spectrum. I was hanging out with them earlier today, rating a couple channels. I can't remember what the channels are called. Post them in the chat if you guys want, and I'll shout them out on the show as well and bring them up on screen. For now, let's hop over to our next topic, and thanks again to McGroin Nation. You guys might know me as Trippin' Over McGroin or Lord McGroin. Thanks again for being here. All the McGroins, we love you guys. Bongino Army in the house. So our next topic, Mama Mac sent this one too. OMG, pure insanity. This is also from Amuse. Democrats, never forget, these are the sort of unhinged people who continue to claim that Biden is mentally fit. And he is mentally fit in comparison to these people. Like, remember those people barking the other day? These people are freaking lunatics, man. Here is Nebraska State Senator Michaela Cavanaugh reminding us who she is really fighting for. He clarifies, this is not a loop. Watch till the end. All right, let's do it. Let's see what's going on over here in Clown World with this total freak show. I'm going to get the Hurl Cam ready for you guys because I know it's going to be brutal. I can already tell.
Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here.
This is the caliber of individual being elected to the state senate in Nebraska. Zap!
Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. Trans people belong here. We need trans people. We love trans people. You matter. You matter. And I am fighting for you.
Alert!
And
Retard alert, class!
I will not stop today. I will not stop tomorrow. You are loved. You matter. You belong here. Trans people,
Total madness. Total madness. Shout out to Zep for the Rumble rant. Appreciate you, Zep. He says, John Deere moving their shit to Mexico. That's right. They're just announced they're moving a big plant to Mexico. Climate tards should prefer they stay in the middle of the U.S. Now they have to truck it all up from Mexico. Morons. Yup. That's a good take, Zep. Thanks again for the Rumble rant. Appreciate you, brother. And thanks for being here. Let's see what we got next on the list. We got a clip from MAGA for Liberty, Mark Lewis on X. If Elon Musk is scared of something, then I'm concerned too. So we got Joe Rogan talking about it over here. Let's see what the deal is.
He's not going to allow people at Tesla to have them. He's not going to allow them to come in with like iPads or laptops that are Apple. If he's getting scared, I get scared. I'm scared. I get scared. When he's saying, hey, you're letting that thing in everyone's phones and you don't know how to control it. And they're like, hey, you know why they got AI? Do you know why they're doing that? Because of this. He's not going to allow people at
Super sketchy. It sounds like the music from 28 Weeks Later playing in the background. And yeah, they're putting all kinds of crazy on AI and all of the Apple products and everything that's going to be fucking ruining all of us. I'm gonna have to smash this thing, put it in a blender. You guys ever see the channel on YouTube, Will It Blend? Let's hop over there real quick, because we're all going to be having to do this with our iPhones pretty soon. Will it blend?
That is the question. I love my new iPhone. It does everything. But will it blend? That is the question. Let's find out. I think I'm going to push the smoothie button.
The smooth brains.
I smoke. Don't.
It's a preview, a small-scale preview of the wood chippers for pandemic perpetrators after Nuremberg 2.0 and due process. FBI is asshole.
Read this.
Looks like it blends to me, guys.
Now, you fans on YouTube have asked me to blend an iPhone, so I did it. But I have another.
Maybe you should blend that one too, unfortunately. Let's jump over to Fleckus Talks for our next topic, talking about gay ibis birds. So we all know that, of course, they're turning the freaking frogs gay. I don't like it when they put chemicals in the water that turn the freaking frogs gay. Well, apparently it's turning the birds gay too. So I'm glad that Loki doesn't eat fresh caught fish, because in this case it's mercury that's transing the birdses. Let's take a look at this. Shout out to Fleckus and Richard Ratboy. These guys make a great duo.
A 180 flip, sexuality-wise, right?
It is. And that's where I put on my little science pants.
Your doctor hat. Like as if there's a doctor hat.
I put on my doctor hat and I did a little research.
Okay.
And let's start with that.
Okay.
Can you give that a read?
It's no surprise that a chemical as potent as methylmercury harms wildlife when it enters an ecosystem in high concentration. In the case of wetland birds, researchers have found it can even change sexual orientation, causing males to pair off with other males. And this is from a study that says pollution makes birds gay.
So the pollution is a mercury pollution.
Methylmercury?
Yeah, which is mercury. And then in the article, there's some more details. Can you give it a read?
A years-long study at the University of Florida suggests that mercury pollution can alter the hormones of white ibises to make males more likely to mate with other males. We knew that mercury can disrupt hormones. What is most disturbing about this study is the low levels of mercury at which we saw effects on hormones and mating behavior. Peter Frederick, a wildlife ecology and conservation professor who led the study, said in a news release this week. This suggests that wildlife may be commonly affected.
And then, sorry for all the reading, but then there's one more little paragraph.
In 2006, about 55% of the high mercury diet males were nesting with other males. Frederick said the degree of male-to-male pairing was proportional to the degree of mercury in the diet. That played a role in breeding differences as well. In comparison with the control group, high mercury males were less likely to be approached by females during courtship. All of the mercury-consuming males were less prone to perform the ritual head bows and bobs that are part of the ibis's mating ritual.
So,
low levels and huge percentages.
Huge percentages. So
Crazy.
the mercury made the male birds nest and pair off with other men.
Crazy. Chemicals are turning the frogs gay. Alex Jones said that. This is like an NBC News article in a University of Florida study.
Yes. So mercury can make birds gay.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Or it's backed by this science. So
yeah, University of Florida study with pretty evidence,
So
good
let's
evidence.
connect some dots and extrapolate across species.
Okay, doctor.
So mercury can make you gay, allegedly. And mercury is also in the you-know-whats. And the amount of you-know-whats have increased over the years, as have the amount of homosexuals and trans people.
Yes.
And we're not going to get super scientific, but the heavy metals, some people think can cause some mental problems.
Okay.
And trans people oftentimes
have those problems.
Are autistic.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's almost like the final proof, allegedly.
Add a couple million migrants to the equation, and you got a conquered nation, baby.
But there's something going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Where the metals, which get into you a certain way throughout your whole life, way more than they used to.
Plus, fish. That's a big source of mercury. For some reason, fish get contaminated with mercury in the oceans, and so you got to watch out for eating fresh-caught local fish, because a lot of times it is contaminated with mercury, at least trace amounts. Donna asking, wasn't mercury in old fillings? Yep, definitely was. They also used gold for fillings. I have a vial of dental gold as proof. I could show you guys that if you want to see it. Let's continue here for a sec.
And now you have 1 in 5 kids is LGBT in Gen Z. Simple science.
Yeah, it's getting greasy.
Causation.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. Okay.
Something to think about, because we're always analyzing the behavior, but how did the behavior get this way? What is encouraging that behavior? And
then mercury is found in fish.
Yeah.
And gays like to eat fish. They think it's light.
And birds eat fish.
They have a little tuna. It's high in protein.
And also, gays like to wear costume jewelry, and costume jewelry often has certain toxic metals in it.
Okay, that's actually a good one.
So once you get on the gay path,
it accelerates even more.
Parabolic.
Exponential parabolic shit, yeah. I know. All of a sudden, you're off The Bachelorette and you're wearing bikinis on a full Instagram video.
Exactly.
What's up, Caps?
And then let's also show this before and after. This nice normal girl. Here's her before. She's just some girl posting selfies. Normal
Cute.
at prom, cute, nice young girl. And then after coming out,
mad.
Are you telling me that girl didn't get poisoned and derailed from her destiny?
That's what I think.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. Has to be. It seems to me like they're trying to recreate the conditions of the Calhoun mouse experiments, where they put mice in an enclosed space, let it get overpopulated, and the mice automatically, like biological mechanisms against overpopulation, started kicking in, and a lot of the mice turned gay. A lot of them turned asexual, the beautiful ones. They'd start sitting in front of mirrors and just grooming themselves all day long, not trying to bang any of the other mice. Others, there was also a rise of eating the young when the babies are being born. It's kind of similar to abortion. We're seeing all these similar things happening in the human population. Rise of transness, the whole, the gay people don't reproduce. Trans people don't reproduce. People get chemically castrated by the trans hormone replacement operations and the surgeries. And then it's like we have simultaneously the overpopulation in cities where we have hotbeds of this phenomena occurring. And then we're also being bombarded with chemicals like mercury and glyphosate and soy and birth control hormones that get cycled through the water supplies. It's all exacerbating this problem. It's like they're intentionally trying to recreate the Calhoun mouse experiment results on at scale with humans. Since I mentioned it, I'll show you guys this little cool thing I got from SS White Packs Gold Cylinders. Check this out. This is an old vial of gold foil cylinders that they would use in dental stuff for fillings and everything like that. So if you're super loaded, apparently instead of getting mercury fillings, you'd get gold fillings. This thing's pretty old. I don't know exactly when it's from, but a kind of a cool find. I got that from Ken Murphy at Boston Bullion. If you guys are interested in a cool dealer of precious metals and everything, Boston Bullion would be my recommendation. BostonBullion.com. He's got cool, unique stuff like that a lot of the time as well. Let's jump over to our next topic involving Elon Musk. Elon Musk, at Elon Musk on X. The European Commission offered X an illegal secret deal. If we quietly censored speech without telling anyone, they would not fine us. Other platforms accepted the deal. X did not. Although it does seem like there is crazy censoring going on in X behind the scenes, as his the stay behind network of previous shit leftard employees continues to sabotage X from the inside.
Los zurdos de mierda.
Shit leftards. That's right, Javier. So Margaret Vestager posted this. In our view, X doesn't comply with the DSA in key transparency areas. It misleads users, fails to provide adequate and ad repository, and blocks access to data for researchers. It's the first time we issue preliminary findings under the Digital Services Act. Interesting. So this seems like this is the, I'm not exactly sure how this is connected, but the European Commission, okay, this is from the European Commission doing this DSA thing, and Elon says they offered them a secret deal. So this is pretty weird stuff. Today, the Commission has informed X of its preliminary view that it is in breach of the Digital Services Act in areas linked to dark patterns, advertising transparency, and data access for researchers, but they wouldn't have complained or filed anything against X if they had just complied and secretly censored people. These people are pure evil, guys. Transparency and accountability in relation to content moderation and advertising are at the heart of the DSA, based on an in-depth investigation that included, among others, the analysis of internal company documents, interviews with experts, as well as cooperation with digital services coordinators. The Commission has issued preliminary findings of non-compliance on 3 grievances. How about no, Scotty? How about fuck you? You shouldn't be telling people what to do at all, and these companies what to do at all. Who the fuck are you to be deciding what people can and can't see on the internet? First, X designs and operates its interface for the, quote, verified accounts with the blue checkmark in a way that does not correspond to industry practice and deceives users. Since anyone can subscribe to obtain such a verified status, it negatively affects users' abilities to make free and informed decisions about the authenticity of the accounts and the content they interact with. The idea that verified accounts mean that the information is trustworthy is bullshit. When verification accounts began, all the checkmark meant is that, yes, this is the person who is claiming to be the owner of the account. This is actually their account. They started only dealing out checkmarks to users who subscribe to the official narrative. That's not what the verified account is supposed to do. It's not supposed to verify the authenticity of information being posted. It's just so that you know the account is who they say they are. It's ridiculous. Second, X does not comply with the required transparency on advertising, as it does not provide a searchable and reliable advertisement repository, but instead put in place design features and access barriers that make the repository unfit for its transparency purpose towards users. In particular, the design does not allow for the required supervision and research into emerging risks brought about by the distribution of advertising online. Third, X fails to provide access to its public data to researchers in line with the conditions set out in the DSA. Fuck the DSA. In particular, X prohibits eligible researchers from independently accessing its public data, such as by scraping, as stated in the terms of service. In addition, X's process to grant eligible researchers access to its application programming interface, API, appears to dissuade researchers from carrying out their research projects or leave them with no other choice than to pay disproportionately high fees. Aw, let's jump over to our next related topic. Elon saying, we look forward to a very public battle in court so that the people of Europe can know the truth. So they're going to be going to court with these cunts, and hopefully we'll be getting the truth out of this whole thing. Look at this clown over here. Terry Breton, loser. Back in the day, blue checks used to mean trustworthy sources of information. Oh, well, further back in the day, before they bastardized the check system, all it meant was that this is the person who's claiming it's their account, that it's actually confirmed to be them. Now, with X, our preliminary view is that They deceive users. They infringe the DSA. X has now the right of defense, but if our view is confirmed, we will impose fines and require significant changes. Fuck you, European Commission. Sit and twirl. Ridiculous. I replied basically saying what I already said, that no, actually, the verified, back in the day, a blue check mark only meant the account was verified, you loser. Anti-censorship, you're a liar and you're evil. No idea what it means to be a citizen. This is a good point. Yeah, so the DSA wants to provide trustworthy sources of information labeled by them, the DSA, the European Commission. This guy says, in Germany, between 1933 and 1945, we also had, quote, trustworthy sources of information labeled by the government. Propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels called them Schriftleiter. Schriftleiter. Yeah, so it's not good when the government tells you what's true and what's false. They're full of shit. Can't trust them. The truth is that the left hates the idea that people they disagree with ideologically are allowed to speak or share opinions that aren't in Congress with their own. You mean the MSM blue checkmarks who did nothing but lie to us for years? Yeah, seriously. Are those the trustworthy accounts you speak of? What a joke you people are. It's the truth that you don't like. Be honest. Yeah, Popeye the Sailor says, your kind of guy, Breton. Joseph Stalin loves it. Look at that. That's fucking hilarious. Whoever made that. Really nicely done. That can't possibly be a real picture, can it? Unreal. Let's jump over to our next topic. Something from Gunther Eagleman. At Gunther Eagleman on X. He says, this isn't a matter of religion. Islam and Sharia law aren't compatible with the American society. Kudos to Texas for moving forward with banning Sharia law. So apparently Texas is beginning the process of banning Sharia law. Let's take a little look at this clip from OAN.
Islam, state legislators in Texas passed a version of the much debated American Law for American Courts bill. The bill bans Muslim Sharia law.
Here, I'm going to rewind that with higher volume. Sorry about that.
Islam, state legislators in Texas passed a version of the much debated American Law for American Courts bill. The bill bans Muslim Sharia law within the state, as well as certain practices that contradict American law. It was filed by Representative Dan Flynn after several court cases denied restraining orders or ruled against victims in domestic disputes because those individuals cited their Sharia law practices. Although many Muslim activists oppose the legislation, it's been voted for by both the House, the State House and Senate, and it will now head to the governor's desk for a signature.
Let's get this straight. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. We have one type of law here. That's American law. We don't need no Sharia law. Sons of bitches. Back to the blue checkmark thing. I just noticed that Elon had actually commented as well. Well, there are a couple more good comments. Billboard Chris says, you think you can tell a privately owned business how to hand out blue check marks? Have you totally lost your mind? Meta also verifies users. Are you targeting them? Robbie Starbuck says, you guys are giant, overgrown babies. We're adults, and we don't need your help. We all know that what this is really about. You want to control X to boost your ideology. X Daily News talking about Meta verified as well, showing that they do the same thing. And Elon says, how we know you're real? Hilarious. Hilarious. All right, let's see what we got next. We're going to hop over to Matt Gaetz on X, reposting Greg Price, who posted Hakeem Jeffries saying that requiring that only American citizens vote is, quote, designed to jam people up and prevent Americans from voting. No, it's supposed to make sure only Americans vote, like Matt Gaetz says over here, at Matt Gaetz on X. No, it's designed to jam the non-Americans. Yeah, obviously, look at this clown.
Only citizens can vote for the United States Senate. Only citizens can vote for the presidency of the United States. So this extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression bill is not designed to solve any problem on behalf of the American people. It is designed to jam people up.
Yeah, illegals, dumb fuck.
And prevent Americans from voting. The extreme MAGA Republican voter suppression candidates.
These people are so full of shit, man. Talking about extreme MAGA Republicans. How about this one? Former esteemed comedian D.L. Hewley went on CNN to spread a shocking conspiracy theory claiming Donald Trump tried to get Mike Pence killed. This is from Dom Luker, at Dom_Luker on X. Let's look at this video.
I think he obviously has a right to his opinion, but where I stand on it is this precisely: the Republican National on Monday, and we have a Republican nominee who's picking a vice presidential candidate that he has to replace because he had to have him killed. He tried to have him killed. And rather than talking about that, we're talking about replacing a nominee who had, whether you like this or not, President Biden has had the legislative agenda that would rival FDR. And so I think he...
So he tried to have Mike Pence killed? You mean the little joke gallows that was set up outside J6 where GPS satellite tracking showed that the people who set it up walked like 10 blocks to a coffee shop directly in front of the FBI headquarters at like 6 a.m. that day? It wasn't the people that built that, in my opinion, allegedly. It was the FBI, the federal booty inspectors who who did that. I might join the FBI if it was the federal booty inspectors. I had a t-shirt that said that way back in the day. But yeah, he didn't try to have Mike Pence killed. The gallows was built by the FBI, allegedly. Ridiculous. These people are brainwashed fools who just believe anything that the mainstream controlled corporate mainstream media tells them, even if it's just blatantly false. Like I gave it a 0% chance back in 2016, 2017 when the whole Russiagate thing was going on. I gave it a 0% chance of being accurate because it's blatantly obvious Trump is independent financially. He didn't need Russia for anything. There was no chance that he was colluding with Russia. So yeah, I agree. Support our rights. Boobs. Hey, buddy, do you see that chick? She has 3 boobs. How many butts does she have? Let's move over to our next topic. Sometimes we've referenced before aluminum and its connections to Alzheimer's and everything. Mama Max sent me this one as well, saying, I didn't know this, though I do recall a time 20 years ago-ish when it was leftover hamburger helper ate holes through the foil covering it. This could be contributing to the heavy metal poisoning that seems to be affecting so many people. Yeah, that's right. I would not use aluminum at all. Super sketchy stuff. I was doing Uber driving a few years ago, and I happened to get like some CEO of an aluminum company in the car. Cardum! Good to see you in the chat. Glad you liked that. And of course, I couldn't resist asking him if he was aware of any connections between aluminum and Alzheimer's. Needless to say, I did not get a tip for that, for that ride. Let's check out this video.
That if you use aluminum in your kitchen, utensils, cookware, aluminum foil, you are walking around with double the amount of aluminum in your blood compared to someone who doesn't. In the same sample where they tested for aluminum, the white blood cells are showing oxidative damage, DNA damage. It's kind of like rust. It's the creation of these free radicals that now can damage our cells and cause DNA damage.
The aluminum foil seems so harmless and non-threatening. It's just like this sheet. It doesn't seem like it can end up in my food.
So studies show that if it's wrapped around meat or anything acidic or anything with salt, or if you're combining your foil with another metal. So for example, you have your steak sitting on a stainless steel tray and then you cover it with aluminum foil. All of that increases the leaching of aluminum into your food. The content of aluminum in food can be up to 40 times higher than food not wrapped in aluminum. Ask yourself, do you really need to use aluminum? Are you trying to wrap in moisture? If it's because you don't want to clean up, maybe rethink that, because the impact on your health could be long-term, it's cumulative. Unbleached parchment paper is probably a better choice, but you could also just put it straight on a stainless steel tray. And I know the cleanup, but spray it with some good non-toxic all-purpose and let it soak and it should all come out. That if you
That's what I use is unbleached parchment paper. Just don't put the oven temperature over 451 degrees Fahrenheit, or you'll get a nice little fire in your oven. Oh man, yeah, super sketchy. I would not be anywhere near aluminum foil if I were you. Billdozer in the chat. We haven't gotten to the David Martin stuff yet, but we will. I found that clip from Jimmy Dore, and I had another piece as well. It's somewhere in my list. My list is like 80 pages long of all kinds of articles and stuff, so I'm going to have to track that down as we... oh yeah, I think that's what I found, Bill. Shout out to Billdozer74, covered the topic yesterday. I mentioned earlier how he did a good breakdown of the 2025 Project 2025 compared to Agenda 47 as well. So make sure to check out Billdozer74 on Rumble. So you can, hour, 20 minutes, nice. So you can find his streams. He streams Thursday nights, 9:30 Central Time. And it was a really good show. Thanks for supporting us, Bill, and helping spread the word. And yeah, happy to help you out as well. He does a good show. So check out Billdozer74. For now, let's jump over to our next topic. So we went from aluminum foil bad to sourdough bread good, I think. Mama Mac sent this one as well. This is interesting, she says. Considering our government is actively trying to kill us and depopulate us, it might explain why they encourage mothers to use formula. So this is something about sourdough bread. Let's see what it is.
Check this out. This is a big surprise. Sourdough is actually made with lactobacillus inside the dough. There's been research studies looking at the number of different types of lactobacillus that are present in sourdough, the dough itself. Lactobacillus reuteri, which originally is delivered from the mom. Something that is startling is we're realizing that this bacteria, Lactobacillus reuteri, lives in the colon. When the mom is 9 months pregnant, there's a signal sent from the uterus to the colon, and it causes this bacteria to come out of the colon inside blood cells. It kind of like calls an Uber, picks up a cell, and it rides all the way to the breast, where it lives. It gets out of the Uber by the nipple. And when the actual breastfeeding begins, the mother's milk injects this bacteria into the baby. And so this is another example of how the microbiome actually works. It turns out that this bacteria actually can reduce the growth of breast cancer. Crazy. And it comes from breastfeeding. And at least in the laboratory, if the mom actually is able to breastfeed with the Lactobacillus reuteri, it'll protect 4 generations later on against breast cancer. So again, really powerful stuff that we're beginning
medicine.
Wow, really cool, Mama Mac. Thanks for sharing that. Sourdough bread, guys. Make sure to get your sourdough bread. So apparently there's a song called Landslide, and I don't know it, but Crazy Bee sent this to me, and it's pretty funny. This is, what if Trump sang Landslide? Let's check this out.
So sad. It's really just tragic because I took my love and, well, I took it right down. I said, unpost, I'm not posting that. And I climbed a mountain so tall, so high, I turned around, I could barely breathe, I was so high. And I saw all my reflection in the snow-capped little hills there, so cold, where the landslide or some other natural force brought me down. Now I ask you, Mr. Mirror, mirror in the sky, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Can the child within my heart, if you're still in there, rise above it? Can we? Can I sail through the changing, all so changing, the ocean tides with the moon wax and wane? Can I handle all the seasons, winter, fall, spring, summer of my life? I don't know. I don't know. We won't know. Nobody knows. No one will know. No one will know.
Hilarious. Next, we'll jump over to Alex Jones posting a video from Andrew Tate. Top G, is that right? From extensive experience, Alex says, I can tell you this information is 100% accurate. This is a must-watch / share information. If the general public becomes aware of how this control paradigm works, it's game over for the globalist / Hollywood protection racket. If the general public ever starts backing real mavericks, true leadership will be unleashed and innovation will explode. So we have a video from Andrew Tate at Cobra Tate on X saying how they convince you to sell your soul. And then he follows up saying, I will never kill myself. Neither will I, guys. Neither will I. Let's check out some of this video while it's playing. I'll try to track down that other David Martin information that I had.
I'm going to explain how the sell your soul process works, and then you can apply it to the people you see who are famous to decide whose soul has been sold and who still owns their integrity and sovereignty. So basically, it's very difficult to become rich and famous in the world today without being gatekept. If you're on a sports team, you're gatekept by your sports team. If you say something you're not supposed to say, you're off the team. If you're in Hollywood and you say something you're not supposed to say, you're not in movies anymore. If you're on YouTube and you say something you're not supposed to say, they kick you off of YouTube. So you have these gatekeepers, and these gatekeepers basically offer you fame in return for not having certain opinions on certain subjects or not mentioning certain subjects at all. You're allowed to be a clown, you're allowed to scream, you're allowed to be a child, you're allowed to get kids interested in garbage, you're allowed to be an idiot, but you're not allowed to talk about anything important on these platforms. And if these things are asked of you, you have to have official opinions. If not, you lose your access to these platforms, because most of you at home don't realize that most influencers don't actually have the ability to make money without these platforms. I'm a businessman with influence. I'm not an influencer with a business. Therefore, I can be canceled and I'm still financially free. The average person who needs their YouTube, without their YouTube, nobody gives a shit about them. When Don Lemon was taken off CNN, nobody gives a shit about him. If a big YouTuber gets canceled, nobody gives a shit about them. If you lose your gaming contract,
Don Lemon is in fact a lemon.
with Kick or Twitch or whoever, nobody gives a shit about you. You don't have actual influence. And this has been proven endless times. So it's very difficult for these people to lose these platforms because now they need to get a fucking job, which we all know they're not going to do. So they sell their soul in return for money. And the only reason they're famous is because they're propagated and pushed to the front by these platforms in the first place. Because standalone, they don't have any genuine pull or influence because they're not that interesting. So primarily, most people are gatekept, and they know that if they lose that contract, they're toast financially, and they're also toast for their fame, so they shut up. If you are well known without being gatekept, and there are a few people who've done it, who've become monumentally famous and well known without having a gatekeeper of any kind, without having a sports team or a manager or a producer or a platform or one of these things that promotes their fame. What happens is they come along and try and put you under a gatekeeper. So they'll come along and they offer you money initially. They say, listen, we're going to pay you $55 million. You're going to be more famous than ever before. You're going to get more views than ever before. Plus, we'll give you this guaranteed amount of money. But to make sure we don't rock the boat, you have to have official opinions on X, Y, Z, or not mention X, Y, Z. And these things are basically the same things you see in the ESG scores. You're not allowed to talk about Israel, you're not allowed to talk about LGBT, you're not allowed to talk about the vaccine, you're not allowed to talk about trans, you're not allowed to talk about these certain things because they don't want to upset anyone. But basically what they're trying to do is neuter you. You sell your soul and you shut up and you don't mention certain subjects. If you say no to the money, which bothers them a lot, because most influencers can't make money without these platforms. So when you say, I don't need your money, they're very, very confused as to why you don't want $50-60 million. Once you say no to the money, it becomes a protection racket. So the mafia used to walk into stores and say, people are going to break your windows, but if you pay us, we'll stop them from breaking your windows. And if you don't pay the mafia, they then break your windows themselves. It's exactly the same. They come to you and say, we have the leading PR firms in the world, and we have the leading legal teams in the world. So let's imagine something happened to you, Andrew. Let's imagine you got in legal trouble. We have the best lawyers. Let's imagine something happened to you and the media started saying you're a bad person. We have the best PR team. And what they're basically saying is, once you're under our guidance and protection, we sponsor the media. Nobody pays for advertising in the media because it works. It doesn't work. They pay for advertising in the media because it's a big bribe racket. So let's say I was sponsored by a clothing brand, and that clothing brand was giving X amount of millions to the media. The media would not then attack me because they will not attack the poster boy for the clothing brand that pays them. It's a circle, right? So what they sit and say is, we have the best PR teams, the best lawyers. In case anything happens, Andrew, we want to make sure that your reputation isn't damaged. So not only do you get money, but you get public relations and legal protections. You say, no, I don't need these things. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's fine. I can hire my own lawyer and I'll handle my own PR. They then repeat it. They double down. They say, no, you don't understand. We have the best PR teams that are in links with the media, and we have the best lawyers.
So
globally.
sketchy.
And you sit there and say, I understand what you're saying to me. I understand this is a protection racket. I get it. I'm just saying no. And they try for about...
It's understandable how so many people get sucked into this because they care more about money than about maintaining their own integrity.
3 or 4 weeks. They amend the contract a little bit. They don't often offer more money. They try and get through to you that if you don't use that PR team for favor, that PR team will turn on you and attack you in the media. If you do not use that legal team for favor, that legal team will do its best to try and drum up charges against you wherever you manage to lay down your head at night. And it's a big protection racket. once they understand that you're not afraid of them and you've declined the money, you've declined the PR, you've declined the legal assistance, that's when trouble starts to appear. That's when the mainstream media starts to attack you in perfect synchronicity.
Texan 290, thanks for joining us, Texan. Shout out to McGroin Nation.
I go to sleep and I wake up one morning and every single media outlet in the world, globally, from India to America, has the same story the same day. Bam, saying I'm a misogynist or I'm racist or whatever they want to say. They've been attacking me every single day for 3 years. When I still had Instagram, I went to sleep one day and I woke up and the next day, 450 large LGBT accounts accused me of being homophobic overnight. They accused me of being homophobic overnight and attacked me at once, in sync. And they do this to drum up public opinion because the public are stupid. And if they see enough accounts say something about somebody, they all jump in on it. So it's a very simple protection racket. Most people never become...
It's like G. Edward Griffin said in that expose in from the 60s, exposing the 1943 American Communist Party handbook, where they say, when suitable opposition builds to your ideas, label the opposers as fascist, bigot, racist, anti-Semite, and repeat over and over and over and over and over and over again until it becomes fact in the public mind. So yeah, you get hundreds of accounts slamming you as all this stuff over and over and over. And that's basically what happens. It just becomes fact in the public mind. Lovin' McGroin! Thanks for joining us. Great name.
They all jump in on it. So it's a very simple protection racket. Most people never become famous without already being part of the racket. If you become famous without being part of the racket, they try and convince you with money. If money doesn't work, they then try and explain to you that they control public relations and they also have huge legal influence in most countries around the world, because anybody who doesn't understand the law understands that it's subjective. And if you're watching this at home, you are guilty of something if they want to find you guilty. And they try and explain to you that you're going to need this protection. You're too famous and you're too well known to be going through life without the kind of friends that can be afforded from a contract like this. If you decline that also and make it clear that your sanity is not for sale, your troubles begin. So it's very interesting because when you look at somebody, if that person happens to be afraid of criticism, if that person doesn't like getting attacked online, if that person can't handle negative articles about them, if that person is weak mentally, as soon as they get hated, they start to break down, be sure they sold their soul, because they've had a conversation with someone who's promised them that they can fix that. And the only place they can't really fix it is on Twitter, because people still have a degree of free will and free speech on Twitter. But in the news and these other places, they'll start to say good things about them. Plus, they'll be financially secure so they can sit in their room all day hiding from the world because their bills are paid while they have their little mental breakdown. Anybody who is afraid of criticism, anybody who is weak mentally, anyone who's scared to be hated, it's actually very simple now in the world. If you look at somebody the media hates, their soul's not sold. If you look at somebody the media loves, their soul is sold. It works that way. And they try and scare you. First, they try and incentivize you with money, but then they try and scare you and make it very clear. You're going to get in a lot of trouble and you're going to be very hated if you don't sign on this dotted line. And knowing what you know, you can take this information, you can take these parameters, and you can look at every single person you see who is famous, and you can see who has sold their soul to the devil and who is still a sovereign man.
Boom. Boom. Very interesting with the Alex Jones seal of approval. So keep that in mind. I will not be taking any deals like that, for the record. And I will not kill myself, for the record, as well. Though I'm probably not even on anybody's radar yet. We'll see. So let's jump over to our next topic. This one's from Crazy B. Make sure to check out Crazy B Gaming on YouTube. This is an interesting tidbit worth watching. She says, from the McCullough Foundation at McCullough Fund on X, the recent emergency order to conduct mass slaughter of 1.8 million chickens in Colorado due to H5N1 bird flu is a grave mistake. The McCullough Foundation production, Bird Flu, Separating Fact from Fiction and True Danger from Fear-Mongering, explains why. Let's check out this clip.
We're now learning almost 1.8 million chickens will be killed at one farm in Weld County because it's infected with the highly contagious avian flu.
Ventilation shutdown is the killing of animals by shutting off vents to basically suffocate animals. Ventilation shutdown plus adds carbon dioxide or heat, which only increases the suffering of the animals.
Or foam depopulation, which involves spraying birds with foam to suffocate them.
What the fuck? All based on fake, phony PCR tests? It's time to terminate the YouTube stream I think if we're going to be talking about some of this type of stuff, boom. Thanks, Big Ass Life. It reminds me of my grandmother in my grandmother Mendy's kitchen. It was all a cow themed kitchen, so everything was cow related, black and white spotted, or white and black spotted. Glad you like that. So here's the link on YouTube for anybody that happens to be watching over there. Come and join us on Rumble and X. Sorry to have to ditch you guys, but we got to do what we got to do so we don't get banned from every place. So we'll catch you guys on YouTube on the flip side on Monday. If you can't join us on Rumble now, sorry to have to ditch you, but we will be back. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Until then, let's get ready to rumble.